have we arrived? Mr. Yep. Good evening, everyone. Time being 6:32 p.m, I declare the ordinary council meeting of 5 September 2023 open. Persons in the gallery are advised that under the Local Government Act 1993, a person may not tape record the proceeding of a meeting of a council or committee without the authority of the council or committee. Tape record includes a video camera and an electronic device capable of recording speech. Mobile phones must be turned off so as not to disrupt the meeting. Anyone, including councillors, found using a mobile phone will be told to leave the meeting immediately and for the duration of the said meeting. An audio recording of this meeting will be taking place for minute-taking purposes as authorised by the Local Government Act 1993. This meeting is live streamed on Council's website to allow the community to follow Council debates and decisions without the need to attend meetings in person. Members of the public attending or speaking at a meeting agree to have their image, voice and personal information, including name and address, recorded and publicly broadcast. Strathfield Council does not accept liability for any defamatory remarks or inappropriate comments that are made during the course of the meeting. Any part of the meeting that is held in closed session will not be streamed. Councillors and members of the gallery, please note that the microphone for streaming purposes is very sensitive and will record all sounds in the room, good or bad. The mayoral diary for August 2023 and expenses claimed by all councillors has been tabled for your information as per resolution of Council 147/19. Councillors, in accordance with the mandatory provisions of the Model Code of Conduct, I remind councillors of the obligations to which you swore by taking the oath or affirmation in that you will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of your ability and judgment. So could we all now please stand for the prayer? We pray that our deliberations will be objective and decisions are impartial and made for the benefit of the whole community. And to recognise our traditional custodians, let us begin by acknowledging the Wangal people, the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet tonight, and we pay respect to their elders, past, present and emerging. Thank you, you may be seated. So are there any apologies or absence, Mr. Ramu? Any disclosures of interest, councillors or officers? No? Do we have any acknowledgements? No? All good. Confirmation of minutes. I need a mover to confirm the minutes of the August meeting 1, 2023. Moved by Councillor Blackmore, seconded by Councillor Reddy. All in favour? I submit the vote to be unanimous. Thank you. Has Councillor okay. So mayoral minutes. So I have one mayoral minute this evening, councillors. And the mayoral minute that I have is the acknowledgement of the late Laurel O'Toole, former mayor and councillor of Strathfield Council. I move that council formally acknowledge the passing of Mrs. O'Toole, Mrs. Laurel O'Toole, former mayor and councillor. That the family of the late Mrs. O'Toole receive a letter from the mayor passing on council's sincere condolences. Sorry, I'm getting a bit choked up. That a donation of $500 be made to the charity nominated by her family in lieu of flowers. The rationale for this motion. I wish to acknowledge the passing of Mrs. Laurel O'Toole, a former Strathfield mayor and councillor. Mrs O'Toole was elected to Strathfield Council in the September 1991 council election and served 2 consecutive terms as a councillor until July 2000. She was elected as mayor in September 1998 and served until July 2000. Mrs O'Toole grew up in Auburn and Homebush, completing her schooling at the wonderful Strathfield Girls High, and she was a state registered nurse, training at Auburn Hospital and studying midwifery at Crown Street Women's Hospital. After her marriage to her wonderful husband, she and her husband returned to live in Strathfield. She was a long-term resident of Agnes Street. Mrs O'Toole was endorsed by the Liberal Party as a candidate for 1991 and 1995 council elections. She stated that her interest in seeking office was in response to the New South Wales government's proposal to build townhouses and villas in low-rise residential parts of Strathfield area. She considered that this would result in a potential loss of open space and tree coverage. During her 2 terms on council, she was directly involved in many important projects and programs. She served on a number of committees for the 2000 Sydney Olympics and was appointed by the New South Wales Local Government Association as their liaison member on the Olympic Security Group. Mrs O'Toole also completed studies in government and economics of social services and was interested in improving community involvement in local decision making. As mayor, she supported polling the local community on proposals to amalgamate Strathfield Council with Burwood Council in 1999 to 2000. That's how I got into politics. The poll overwhelmingly rejected the proposal as a mayor proposed terminating amalgamation discussions, thereby angering the then Minister for Local Government, and it was unsuccessful. As mayor, she also successfully led the fight against boundary claims by the then Auburn Council. Everyone wants Strathfield, don't they? Claiming large parts of the Strathfield area. During her mayoral term in 1999, Council adopted a new housing strategy after significant public consultation in the form of amending local environment plans and adoption of new development control plans, which enabled the exemption of Strathfield Council from the Metropolitan Planning Strategy. Councillor O'Toole advocated to improve public access to council meetings and debate on issues of the day, including establishing an open forum at council meetings and sponsoring a public debate in the Strathfield Town Hall on the 1999 referendum of an Australian Republic. The debate features representatives from Parliament, Republican and constitutional monarchs groups. As mayor, Councillor O'Toole wrote a regular newspaper column in order to inform the local community on current issues. In October 1999, she finished her column with a quote she valued, and it is, "As a way to experience an interesting life." A way to experience as an interesting life as a member of a local government, said by former President John F. Kennedy. These are risks and costs to a program of action, but they are far less than the long-range risks and costs of comfortable inaction. Mrs O'Toole is survived by her husband Victor and their children and grandchildren, and I commend this mayoral minute to the council, and we welcome Vic and the family to our council tonight. Thank you very much. So I move that mayoral minute, councillors, and I need a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Reddy. All in favour? Yes, I move that it's for. Thank you very, very much. I will take a short break to say goodbye to our family members here, because we really don't want to be. And yeah, 5 minutes. Thank you. It's 45. Back on. Yep. So now we'll do items by exception, councillors. So if you look at your councillor papers, go through the items of exception. So page 24, 0-minute acknowledgement of the late Laura O'Toole, that's all happened. Page 26, GMU1, review of the sister city policy. All good. Page 33, GMU2, delivery program progress report, January to June 2023. Page 105, CCS1, tenders advertised and awarded August 2023. Page number 106, CC. You have an amendment? Yeah, we'll keep that out.
For the CC, how about the CCS2?
Mhm.
Would you keep it?
Yeah, we're keeping.
No. Sorry, put it up. That's going in. Is that going in?
No, it's out.
It's out.
It's not going to be put through as exception. We're going to discuss it. 169, page 169, CCS3, returns disclosing the interest of councillors and designated persons policy. Page number 221, CCS4, investment report, July 23. Page number 242, CCS5, determination of the number of councillors for the 2028 to 2032 term of office. Page 244, CCS6, councillor workshop, 22 August 2023. Page 248, CCS7, motions for the Local Government New South Wales Annual Conference. You all good with those motions, councillors? Page 260, CCS8, Community Grants 2023 Review and Recommendations. All good. Page 265, CCS9, Current Status of Council Resolutions. Page 273, PE1, 2 to 6, Hillcrest Avenue, Homebush. Page 288, EOI, Footpath Extension, Coronation Parade Update. Page 290, EO2, Events in Council Parks and Community Facilities Policy. Page 313, EOI, Draft Mobile Vending Vehicle Policy.
By exception.
By exception, or taken out.
Take it.
Take out exception, 313. No, yep. By exception 326, 335, only joking. Page number 351, 11.1, report from Traffic Committee, August 15, 2023. Page 390, 11.2, report from the Wellbeing Advisory Committee. Do you want to pull that up?
No, yeah.
You're not going to put that through by exception?
Mm.
Okay. Page 390. Page number 395, report from Multicultural and Diversity Advisory Committee meeting 9th August 2023. 400, International Moon Festival 2023, Councillor Benjamin Chai. No. 404, expression of interest to establish refreshment rooms, Councillor Benjamin Chai.
No.
408, provision of additional bin, Henley Road, Councillor Benjamin Chai. Page 408.
Better report or better?
Take it out?
Yeah.
You want to talk on it? Yes. Okay. Page 411, so that's 408, that's 400, 400, 408, 411. So that's Councillor Chai's, all his motions,
Yeah, I'll take it.
all your motions.
Yes.
Yeah. 414, report on rezoning industrial land for R4 high density residential development at Water Street, Councillor Husman. Take that out. Page number 417, 12.6, Council N discretionary grants, Councillor Sharenga and Mahestran, that's a report. Okay, we'll go through. Page 418, report into weekend markets within the local government area, Councillor Mahestran. Go through. page 419, 12.8, letter of congratulations regarding the Cooks River donation, councillor Maheswaran,
Yeah,
take out. Right. Confidential matter, and that's in regard to the CCS1 small grants, and they're the applications that were all discussed at the workshop. All good to go through? Everyone happy with that? Right. All right. So now, so I need to move that. You second that, councillor Blackmore? So I moved by councillor Blackmore, seconded by councillor Data. Put it to a vote, all in favour? Yes, unanimous. I declare that vote unanimous. Right, now the next is the public forum. No, public forum. No speakers, thank you very much. Are you going to?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, councillor.
I would like to move the suspension of standing orders. And I would like to do item CCS 10, CCS 11, CCS 12, CCS 13 as the last items of business on the.
The last items? Yep. I need a seconder for that. Seconded by councillor Hall. Right, so we're going to the end. All in favour? So we'll run through the meeting, councillors, and then we'll do those items after that. So, reports to council, CCS 7. For the local government, New South, CCS 2.
I'll move that.
Code of meeting practice, moved by councillor Blackmore, seconded by councillor Maheswaran. I need a seconder for this one, councillors. Oh, councillor Maheswaran. So who needs to talk on this?
Yeah,
Code of meeting practice. Councillor Blackmore.
yeah, sorry, I just have a small amendment in my apologies.
106.
Madam Mayor, I did gentlemen, you read that
Change.
amendment. Sorry, I just have,
Yeah, what page?
also on business paper.
114, page 114, councillors, and it's 3.11. What 3.12? I'll just read it out to you. Any, do you want to read it out? Have you got it? Yeah. That's okay. It's this one here.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you look at page 114, basically it's item 3.12. It says any notice submitted under clause 3.9 clause 3.11, which has legal, strategic, financial, and/or policy implications that should be taken into account by the general manager, should be put in a form which calls for a report. I would the second at the end where after it says council meeting, that the word should be must be replaced with the word must. So basically, if there's any expenditure in this council or any strategic decisions that people aren't just ad hoc putting motions in and committing the council to money without getting a proper process and proper reporting. That's the reason that needs to be changed, and I think it's good governance. And I would seek the other councillors' support.
An amendment. Oh, that's a motion. That's the motion. So we're just changing a word. Okay. So okay, I've got a second. So I'm putting okay. So I put the motion forward, councillors. Any more debate?
Oh, sorry, yes. There was one,
This is on page 114.
this is the total bidding.
Yeah.
And there was, very similar thing, a change from a should, there should be a should. So
129. Council meeting in which there is to be an election.
here it is. Okay, 311, sorry. The 311,
311, what page?
sorry, 114.
All right.
Yes, this is where it says must be in writing. Maybe. I change that. Should or maybe, yeah, one of the two. Should.
Okay, Councillor Maheswaran, do you accept that change?
I just take the opportunity to say, in respect of the proposed 5, I don't accept that. Yes,
Oh, is that on 3.12?
correct,
Right, you want that kept as should.
correct.
You don't want to change that to must.
No.
Okay. So that's not accepted, councillor. Do you want to do a foreshadow on that, councillor Blackmore? Okay. All right, so let's get back to 3.11, where it said must be submitted in writing. Councillor Blackmore, do you want to change that to should?
I'm happy with that.
Are you happy with should, or we'll leave it with must? Should is fine for that one. You happy with that, councillor? Right, so that's changed. So 3.11 is changed from must to should. And we're looking at 3.12 and we're voting on the motion with the 3.12. Sorry, councillor Data. You're going to speak on that?
Not speak, I just wanted to make a.
Another amendment?
Proposal.
Sure. Councillor Data?
Yeah.
What change would you like to make?
On page 1 to 9,
Yes,
8.1.
8.1.
Yeah, I would like to propose that item 12 be brought forward after the oral minutes. So as item 8.
Councillor Blackmore? You accepting that move from Councillor Councillor Data is wanting to move notice of motions up to after the mayoral minute, no, after items of exception.
Right, you know,
Or after public forum.
after public forum.
So from 12 to make 12 number 10. And then thereon. Correct, Councillor Data?
Yeah.
Councillor Blackmore, are you happy with that?
Yeah.
No problem, Councillor Maheswaran? No problem. Okay, so another amendment?
Page 129, 8.2, can we delete that?
Councillor Blackmore?
Change it by motion, but is there any reason for putting the kind of thing happen?
You're not, you delete, delete. Okay, so 8.2 will be deleted from the policy. So let's just go through the changes that we're going to be voting on, councillors. So the first one wasn't accepted by the seconder, so it stays the same as should and not must. The second one was councillor Hall, who was wanting to delete 8.2. And councillor Data wants to change the order of business papers, moving 12 to placement in the 10 area of business papers, correct? And you have another one?
I have another one. We do the meeting day,
Yes.
for the item 3.11.
What page, councillor?
The 3.11, that's where, I think, Councillor Hall talk about. 3.11, 114 page 114.
Got it.
In here is it, I read it, is where the councillor seeks to move any motion other than the councillor, other than the council officers' documentation, including any subsequent amendments, the alternative motion and the subsequent amendments must be submitted in writing. I don't really understand what this one means. As the councillor submit the motion, need the council staff approval.
We just changed that to should.
We just change it to should.
No,
It's all been changed. This one's been
Well, this
changed.
one, but how about the should in 312?
It's the same, staying the same.
Should.
Yes. This one's staying the same
Mm.
and this one is changing from must to should.
But again, when the councillor raise a motion, why, people can use the oral to make motion, but supposed to be in writing, right?
Sure.
Hmm?
Are you, what are you trying to ask, councillor? Are you trying to ask that whatever the motion is, it should go forward?
Yes, of course.
No, I'm really not sure what you're asking, councillor. Can we have Mr. Memo decide?
Through you, Madam Mayor. So the intention of including 3.11, and I don't think there's any objection from the officer in terms of it being should or must. It is just to help with the running of the council meeting, to have clarity on what councillors are actually moving from the floor, or if they're putting motions, or they're intending on putting motions to the council. So that way it eases the pressure on our governance officer who is taking minutes during the meeting to try and ensure that we're correctly capturing the intention of the councillor making the change on the floor. And it does help with the order of business if that's provided to us prior to the meeting, particularly if you know that you're going to be moving something. And it also allows us to provide some good advice to you, councillor, as to whether what you're proposing to move is legal and lawful or unlawful. So 3.11, you don't have to have it. You knock it out if you choose, but I would suggest that it would be good governance for you to include.
Can you see?
Sure.
To the Madam Mayor, personally, I don't really like this item. Actually,
That's why we changed it should.
no, I don't like the whole law.
You don't like it, so you're not going to vote for that
No.
in the council policy?
No, not
Okay.
for these items.
Okay, well then, what you should do then, councillor, is put a foreshadow in after we vote on the current motion. Okay, is
Okay.
that correct? Mr.?
Yeah, we just voted against the motion.
Well, he wants to move, do you want to move in an amendment?
Should I take?
Councillor Blackmore, would you accept that amendment to remove that item?
No.
Councillor Mahestro, do you want to move that off the council policy? You agree with councillor Chai? Right. So you're going to have to move it forward.
Take a second.
Right. So you need to now provide an amendment
Hmm.
to Mr. McQuaid after we vote on the motion.
You have the motion first.
Yeah.
And then.
Yes, you don't have to vote for the motion because you don't like the way it is,
Yeah.
but after, you've got to provide the amendment now. The amendment would be to disregard
Yeah.
3.11.
It's easy.
That's the amendment, to delete 3.11. What about everything else that's on there, councillor Chai? You happy with everything? Oh, you don't have to be happy, you can vote or you don't have to vote.
Hmm.
Okay,
I'm
are you clear?
clear about this one, okay?
Right,
I
are you
the
clear
one-
on everything?
I have another.
No problem, no problems.
Okay, on the item 4.43,
Sorry, through you, Madam Mayor, we really need to help the governance officer for what the amendment is. So
Well, the amendment was to remove 3.11. To delete it
Adopt everything else.
and adopt everything else, but there's another amendment proposal by councillor Chai. So councillor Chai,
Mm.
in the order of business papers, we've changed it from the notice of motions go up to after the public forum. You happy with that? That's what's going to be,
Yeah.
that's what we're going to be voting for. Okay, so the next amendment that you're going to be speaking
Yes.
on?
For the 5.43 on page 126.
Yes.
Read the items, the general manager and other council staff may attend meetings of the council and the committees of the council by audio visual link. Attendance by the council staff at meeting by audio visual link, other than as members of the public, will be with the approval of the general manager.
Mr. Member, can you explain that point, please?
Through you, Madam Mayor, so clause 5.43, as described in the draft, is actually a mandatory inclusion as part of the model code, so you're unable to knock that out, councillor.
I'm not just want to knock it out, but my concern.
So through you, Madam Mayor, the councillor is unable to amend it.
You can't change it. It's done by legislation. Cannot be changed by the state government. Do you understand that?
Okay.
Yeah. Right. The councillors, we're going to any further debate. So let's be,
Madam Mayor.
yes, councillor
This for
Blackmore.
ease of passage,
Mhm.
I will be happy to accept that.
Right.
Yeah, and I'll be happy to leave the other one as short. That makes it easy.
Right, that does make it easier, councillor Blackmore. Thank you very, very much. So all the changes have been accepted by the mover, and we're going to vote on the change unless there's any further debate. Any further debate, councillors?
Just question, excuse me, some questions to the general manager, the 5.43. From which item of the state, most of
Legislation.
of the.
Code of meeting practice?
Is, yeah.
Yes, Mr. You're right.
Just clarifying that by including the proposal by councillor Ty and adding it to councillor Blackmore's motion, that councillor Ty needs to withdraw his amendment.
I've added to my motion.
Hmm?
You withdraw your amendment.
You just stand up.
Through you, Madam Mayor, so in the model code, 2021 for the meeting practice, it's clause 5.44, which says the general manager and other council staff may attend meetings of the council and committees of the council by audio visual link. Attendance by council staff at meetings by audio visual link other than as members of the public shall be with the approval of the general manager. Anything that is in black in the model code is a mandatory provision and you're unable to change it. The provisions of the model code which are able to be changed are in the colour red.
So to move this motion, councillor Chai, I need you to withdraw your amendment. Because it's going to be done anyway. Councillor Blackmore has accepted it.
Okay. 311, I just want to delete it, that's it.
Yeah, okay.
That's part of the motion.
So have you withdrawn that? So it's going to be part of the motion now that it's deleted. Okay, thank you, councillors. So I put it to you, councillors, all in favour? I declare that the motion has been carried. Right, CCS2, so we go to now 313, draft mobile food vending vehicle policy. Councillor Mahasran, you wanted to look at that? Are you moving that, councillor?
Yes.
Yes, I need a seconder. Councillor Hall.
So, and a second for this one.
No.
Yeah.
Councillor Mahasran moved it and councillor Hall seconded it.
Yeah, she can let me.
No, she can't, councillor Chan.
because this original is my motion.
Yeah, unfortunately, councillor. Councillor Hall put her hand up before you.
Sorry.
Councillor Heston, in the motion.
I'm concerned about the motion simply because it seems unduly restrictive of where these sort of mobile food vending vehicles could be used. If one considers that trading hours will be limited to up to 7 PM within industrial areas, that isn't intuitive, as those industrial areas are the ideal places, and where neighbouring councils these sort of food vending does occur, and where it's extremely useful when you have late night operations that might be advantaged by having these kind of food vendors set up and service the staff that work in those areas. My other principal concern is that where major roads are effectively excluded, and where not directly in front of residential buildings are excluded, we said that there should be some constraints, but this appears to give very little discretion around where it would be. I would start by, at a very minimum, removing the industrial areas from the motion. I would say that the report appears to be generally restricted towards mobile food vending vehicles, and I would think that we should set some principles around which council. I think we should want to send this back to a workshop to rework it. I know it came to the previous workshop, but that the councillors might want to think about where they think these kind of vehicles would be appropriate and where they wouldn't be appropriate, and then we send it back to the workshop rather than deal with it today. So that's the amendment I would be proposing, that rather than to replace 1 and 2 with a simple, that the draft mobile food vending vehicle policy will be referred back to the next council workshop for further discussion.
Thank you, councillor. Any other debate, councillors? You want to talk on that, councillor Child?
I'm okay.
Oh, okay. Any further discussions? So the amendment being that it really gets referred back to the workshop. The motion, sorry.
Yeah.
You happy with that, councillor Hall? All right. Any further discussion, councillors? I'll put that to you. All in favour? I declare that vote unanimous. Thank you. Okay, 390, Wellbeing Committee, Advisory Committee. Councillor Data, are you moving that?
Yes, I am.
You need a second for that. Councillor Chai.
Hey, Madam, I just simple thing. I think that this council has had a well-being advisory committee for many years, and I do understand that even since there has been some lack of progress, but I think this committee probably should be run in a different format. And my proposal is that the minutes of the well-being advisory committee held on 3rd of August be noted, and the recommendations be not adopted. That's all. Thank you.
Any further debate, councillors? So can I just say, councillor Data, we haven't had a wellbeing advisory committee since I've been a councillor in 2017. Last year was the first time that we introduced it to our council. And unfortunately, and I say this with a heavy heart because I really wanted this to work, we don't have enough community members that are being involved in this committee, and we've had full meetings and nothing has been accepted or done in the committee. And I believe that having council officers take up a whole afternoon organising meetings, councillors haven't turned up for meetings. We haven't had a quorum 3 times, and it's been a bit of an embarrassment to our community members that do attend. I believe that we can work in another way with our members of the community to receive any wellbeing advice that they would like. And I think it's best that we close this advisory committee down and we work with our committee in other ways, work with our community in other ways. So I'm putting forward to councillors that I will be voting for this recommendation. Thank you very much. Do you want to speak, councillor?
The guy that's moved a motion, which is opposite to this. What was in the original piece of papers, they probably want
To whom to put-
of the original recommendation.
Councillor Dada. Yeah. Councillor Dada, you need to put it in.
Actually,
No, my motion, I'm agreeing with the report.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Warren. Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you. At the moment, the motion's on the board. They've moved by councillor Dada, seconded by councillor Kai, that the minutes of the Wellbeing Committee held on 3rd of August be noted and the recommendations not be adopted. The staff recommendation before you is what I believe you wish to move as an amendment. And if you wish to move that amendment, you need to seek a seconder and then debate it, and the amendment gets put first.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I move the amendment that I would wish to adopt the council's officer's report, and I need a seconder for that amendment. Councillor Blackmore, and we're going to vote on the amendment now. Councillor Hall.
I just have a question. So you just, your recommendation is that the recommendations be adopted.
That was the original motion.
So you're going for the original motion, basically, as an amendment. Because councillor Dada has put up a motion,
I know something's happening with these tables.
so.
So, Mr. Lawrence, sorry to do this to you. So, can we just make it clear with councillor Dada's information?
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you, as I mentioned, councillor Data's motion is on the board there, which is he's noting the minutes of the meeting and recommending that the recommendations not be adopted.
Right.
Now, the report in front of you has a councillor's staff recommendation.
Yes.
That recommendation is what you have moved as an amendment, which is adopting that and that the recommendations be accepted. So once you debate both items, the amendment will be put first.
So
Determination.
the amendment will be put first. Thank you very much. So is anyone going to talk about the amendment?
Amendment is the motion that I'm.
No. The amendment is to disregard the Wellbeing Advisory Committee.
So what I think just a question to the chair.
Sure,
The
councillor.
question is so just to everyone understand. So the first thing that will go on vote is the amendment, which is be adopted. Yeah, that's the amendment, be
Yes.
adopted.
Yeah,
And if it doesn't get enough vote, then the original motion that I had first will be adopted. So that everyone understands very clearly.
Sure, yes, sure, councillor, but you'd always deal with the amendment first.
That's great.
Your motion will be dealt with after the amendment. You understand that?
Yep.
If the amendment is lost.
Yep.
Right. Amendment is that the minutes of the Wellbeing Advisory Committee meeting held on the 3rd of August 2023 be noted and that the recommendations be adopted, noting that one of the key recommendation is to dissolve Council's Wellbeing Advisory Committee, which if adopted by Council will take effect immediately. So that's my amendment and I'm putting that to you, councillors, all in favour? All. All against? Councillor Reddy, Councillor Data. So I declare that motion carried, that amendment carried. And now I put it as a motion Any discussion on the motion, councillors? I can just put it to you. All in favour? You're voting on the motion now.
The amendment which became the motion.
The amendment became the motion. So you voted for the amendment and not voting for the motion.
So now we're voting on the version.
No, you're voting on the fact that we're going to dissolve the advisory committee.
Now you're voting on the adopted.
The amendment was.
Yeah, councillor Chai? You're voting, do you want to stop the advisory committee or not? Okay. All right, so,
I don't think,
I do.
you want to stop or keep?
I voted to
stop.
I know how to vote.
Substantive motion.
Councillor Chai, we're voting on the motion, and the motion is now the amendment, and the amendment was to cancel the advisory committee. We voted on that. Now we're voting on the motion, which is includes the amendment. And that is to take effect immediately, the dissolving of the Wellbeing Committee. To take effect immediately to stop the Wellbeing Committee.
If I support it, what's going to happen when this committee
Who
is going to
supported
support
the
it? And if I not support it,
It'll still go.
it'll still go.
Yeah, well, so. I'm putting it again to you, councillors, all in favour of the dissolvement of the advisory committee, as in the motion. Right, councillor, that's right, councillor Blackmore, councillor Chai, councillor Hall, councillor Pensabini, all against, councillor Data and councillors Reddy. I declare the motion carried. Thank you, councillors. Doesn't have all the motions tonight, or is it just me? All right, councillors, so we go to 12.1, International Moon Festival 2023. Councillor Chai is moving this. We need a seconder. Councillor Hall. Open for discussion. Thank you, councillors.
Okay, this one is the first time I saw, my motion is it's so long, the council officers note. Madam Mayor,
Yes, councillor.
before I move my motion on the Mid-Autumn Festival, normally we also know it's like the International Moon Festival.
Sure.
I would like to say that I'm deeply disappointed and troubled by the overly word, highly confrontation and seemingly adverse commentary offered by staff on my motion, which I find offensive and do not appreciate. Simply put, while I am sure the authors and the approval of the commentary appear to mean well and appear to be motivated by the desire to assist the council by protecting their so-called governance around the system of public administration of Strathfield Council. Let me say this, in my view, the commentary was insincere and misleading and meant to create a sense that I did not, and you as councillors don't know what you are doing, and we are just a pain in the neck. It was also an attack on my and the councillors' absolute right to put the lawful motions before this election body. That's why I want to delete the 3.11. In so doing, it was an open and deliberate attack on the democratic process that the lawmakers of this state have through enabling laws and the constitution granted to every councillor in every council in the world. Madam Mayor, you see, nothing in the 1,649 words, they put the commentary 1,649 words on my motion, even more than my motion. Commentary attacking my Moon Festival motion suggests and or aims that my motion was unlawful. The reason for that is plain and simple. They knew my motion and the others I have on the agenda was perfectly lawful. If not so, the general manager could not have put them in the business paper. So why, I ask, have they gone to such lengths of discredit me when they knew my submitted motion are perfectly lawful? In my view, the commentary by unelected officials was meant to shock and awe me and the other elected councillors. It was meant to create doubt in mine and in your minds on the validity of these and other motions of mine, to publicly embarrass me as a councillor, elected councillor and the deputy mayor. This wasn't the first time they have done this, Madam Mayor. When you were on leave and I was the acting mayor, I was never once recognized nor asked to speak as the acting #1 citizen of Strathfield and the ex-official of the council. Let me say this, as a councillor elected to this council, I'm more determined than ever to solely assert and defend my rights in this place to represent my community. Madam Mayor, wherever there is a slightest hint of prejudice in this place, I will call it out. My final words on this is that the staff are here to carry out the lawful resolutions of the council. Their role do not include in the use of shock and all tactics to embarrass me as a councillor and the deputy mayor of this place. Madam Mayor, now I go to my motion. I now move the motion. The Moon Festival is popularly, and celebrated by the Chinese people, Japanese, Korean, and Singaporean and Southeast Asian cultures. In Strathfield terms, they represent more than 33% of our population, the largest group in our diverse demographic in the 2021
Councillor Chai,
census.
you need to move, how much longer do you have?
It should be finished soon.
Okay, is that okay with all councillors to approve? Yep, okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor, when we celebrated the Indian Festival of Lights, what we call Diwali, and the Indian Independence Day, the flag, raising, and the installation of monuments to honor a past PM of India. As a councillor, we did our bit without fanfare or commentary, and we did so without questioning. We helped to organize and finance these celebrations of our community icons and iconic events because that was the right thing to do. As the then Mayor Councillor Blackmore rightly said, Strathfield is a multicultural community that we are committed to inclusiveness. It was true then. It is true now. Likewise, I ask you to support my motion to hold the annual Mid-Autumn Festival starting this year. This festival is an important calendar occasion in Asian cultures. It's a modest and inclusive motion that can be easily supported and organized by council. Thank you.
Organised by council.
Yeah.
Thank you, councillor Chai. Any further discussion, councillors? Councillor Blackmore? Is there a second? Yes, councillor Hall seconded.
Firstly, look, I was going to make an amendment to the alternate motion which was put on there, but I think I actually may probably will just vote against this motion. Councillor Chai, I find your commentary deja vu. Those words sound like lovely speech that you've written, but they're deja vu with those words. I've heard similar speak before, but I find it highly offensive to this organisation and to the councillors and to the staff that you would speak in such a manner about decisions that we're making. The reality of this is that the Moon Festival was supposed to be part of another festival. During the events program where you were invited, you were part of it, it was actually taken out of that event was cancelled and funding put to another event. At that stage, when we had our workshops and we had very, very open and transparent process with all the councillors, you had an opportunity to put this into the events calendar and you didn't. We've talked to you, we've said you can put it in next year and plan it in advance. I just, this is, you could have moved that we do this back when those items were dealt with earlier this year. So to come and make accusations or things like that about the council staff or the mayor or the councillors, I find it highly offensive to this organisation, and I would ask you to withdraw some of those comments.
Thank you, councillor Blackmore. Any further discussion, councillors? Councillor Hall?
My learned friend.
No, please.
Okay. I appreciate that it's probably not the best speech, but I understand that it's full of emotions. I understand that it's that it's a very, very important event that that Councillor Chai is very, very, very passionate about. In fact, it was probably when Councillor Chai first got elected that I said, I watched the historic Chinese series, and I love the moon festivals that they have on there. We should have a moon festival. That was almost 2 years ago. I didn't realise it was going to sort of, put a thought. So, I mean, I love the concept. I think it's a great concept. While I wasn't going to vote for the motion, and I'm putting aside the speech because that is something that councillor has to, work out with the officers, and they can maybe, I don't know, there could be some kind of withdrawal or something, but I don't want to go into that one. What I want to concentrate on is the essence, and that is the Moon Festival. I think it's a great idea. I was going to vote against it, except when I was going through the papers, I noticed that the traffic committee has actually approved the road closure. Has already approved it.
No. Sorry, councillor, can I just interrupt there? The road closure is only closed if this motion goes forward.
Okay, so that's right, but
So it's only if that this motion is moved and it's accepted that the road closure will go forward.
not an issue. So if,
But if it doesn't get up tonight, then the road closure won't happen.
no problem. I understand that, but I'm saying, but for me, it's a great concept, a really good concept, something that I think is a great idea. Probably, it hasn't come about the way I would have liked, but since that hurdle, if the motion passes, since that hurdle has already been handled through the traffic committee, then to me, there's not an issue. So to me, I will vote for it because I think the concept is great. My hurdle of the traffic is already has been overcome, and then of course it's up to the councillors, and if the motion loses, it loses.
Thank you, councillor. Councillor Mahestrom.
I'd like to put an amendment on it.
Sure.
The amendment would be to, and I'll repeat it at the end, but would be to remove from 2 to 5 points, and then to introduce as an alternative to that council work with the community to enhance Moon Festival celebrations in the local government area in 2023 with a view to organising an event in 2024. And I believe that that recognises that council can assist in these sort of things, even at the last moment, but that there's a limited capacity to do so. And that's what occurs when there's not enough time to deal with these sort of things. And what I envisage is that this year that council officers will, in good faith, which they almost always certainly work in, to work with the community to see what they can do, if anything, to enhance the celebrations that will already occur. And in year 2024, I'd be more than happy to support placing this on our calendar. And I may sound a little bit bitter, or I told you so, but this festival was contained in a motion to council by myself, which many councillors here voted against, and otherwise this issue would not be an issue. So that's the amendment that I intend to put.
Thank you. Do I need a seconder for that motion, for that amendment?
Before we.
Can I just,
We've got to have a seconder for the amendment.
Just check the choice of word.
The wording right there, councillor Maheswaran. Can I just say something in regard to this motion? I understand the passion that you have for the Moon Festival, Councillor Chai, and I understand that you represent a very large group of Chinese and sub-Asian people in council, and we do really accept that. However, can you tell me, I'm asking you a question, how much is it going to cost and how are we going to fund it?
I think the email has sent the authority to the GM. I'm not sure what he wrote.
Have you received a GM, just Mr. Mamo, have you received an email stating the costs and how we're going to fund it? If we go ahead with this motion.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I do not have an email which I indicated for the nor is there an identified funding source.
Thank you very much. So, and that's the reason why, councillors, that when we're putting up major projects like this to council, we need not only money and we not only need funding, we also need council staff to organise it. This event, I think, is expected to run on the 30th of September, correct? It is now the 5th of September, and to organise an event as large as this would be absolutely impossible from council resources. Plus, it's not in our budget and we haven't reported to see how much it's going to cost us. Unfortunately, Councillor Chai, everything else last year that went through, like the statue of our former Indian Prime Minister, and the other, the council raising the flag for our Indian community and for everything like that, there's always been a report to council. We've always put funding in and we've always worked out how we're going to do it. So unfortunately, when you're putting in big events like this, you need to have a report to council so we can look at the costs and the infrastructure and the where the funding is going to be made, because there is a certain budget for our events and this was not included in our budget. So unfortunately, as much as I will not be voting for this motion or the amendment.
Can I just properly formulate the amendment, if that's
Sure.
okay? Because it just clarifies what it means.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. It's okay, Dan. What would occur is that, so all the points between 2 and 6 would be removed. Yes. In the point 1, where it says.
So 2 and 6 be removed, and in point
No,
1,
two,
you've
sorry,
got
2 to 6. So
number 2 to 6.
would be removed.
Yeah.
Number 6 is the date.
I do apologise. Yeah, 2 to 5. 2 to 5 would be removed.
We lost their left.
So 2 to 5 would go on. In number 1, that would read 2024, so 2023. And then a new number 2 Peter. So in 2023, council worked with the community to enhance, where possible, their Moon Festival celebrations and provide assistance where feasible.
What about number 6, Councillor Hessery?
It's just as a date.
I know, but if we're not, if the amendment is to not have it this year, how can that be part of the amendment?
Celebrations.
Now, we've got conduct this year's festival on September 30, 23.
I suppose.
Support any other events.
This year's festival.
Support this year's festival.
Support this year's festival
Let me
events.
finish, okay, that's what your
Okay.
amendment.
Yeah, well,
Thank you, councillor Chai.
we should say, look, on number 6, we'd say support this year's events on 30 September 2023.
Yeah.
And the hope is, just in terms of intention, is that where council might see some opportunity that some community groups may have existing events or capacity to do so,
Yes.
that they would support it using the means available to them, noting that, given the timing, it may be difficult, so to do what's possible this year, but next year that will certainly happen.
Absolutely. And so number 7, councillor, can you make that clear?
Well, no, because if there is money to be expended, but that's well,
You can't fund. That's the whole one.
no, I think that'd be the motion. Because it'd have to come from any savings from the budget if they were to expend money this year. But you may be the case that there's not a dollar in that, and if that's the case, then that's what council, what's feasible. for
Okay,
council.
fair enough. Thank you, councillor. Any other debate? Councillor, one moment. Any other debate?
Could I just get advice if there's
Sure.
any savings within the budget for the events this year?
Mr. Manning. Just want to call you councillor, Manning.
Through Madam Mayor, for anything we actually need, that's the estimate to work within. And for us to expend money, I need council to vote the money. Sure. So I need you to nominate an amount and
Up
you
to,
need to vote it and for it to come from savings. But I can't guarantee there are savings.
Yes.
You also need to consider what you do with those savings at a later date. Sure.
So I'll just finish that amendment and I'm plucking a number out, but this is very much of the view that next year we can have something, but this year it has to come from something else. And so I would nominate the number of $10,000 as a number for as number 4. So fund the 2023, and we should say events rather than event, Mr. McQueen. With up to $10,000. And we acknowledge that as councillors that may take away from other things that we have told council to spend on. So tomorrow's problem, I suppose.
that's if we have budgetary savings. Is that what you're saying, councillor Minister?
Have to come from the events budget line.
And they're all filled.
Well,
All right. Yes, please. Could you explain the events budget, please, Mr. Memo?
So through you, Madam Mayor, I might just go through the list of events that have funding allocated in this year's budget, and then maybe councillors to make this motion passed work. So we have the town hall 100-year anniversary, which is actually going to be held in early October. That's got 40,000 allocated to it. We've got the movies in the park, which has 31,000. And I will say the town hall is largely committed because that event is significantly in terms of planning and contractors engaged. We have the community Christmas party, which has a $10,000 allocation against it. We have the Christmas carols, which has 60,000. We have Australia Day, which has 40,000. We have the in February the Lunar New Year, which has 9,000. The International Women's Day, which has 15,000. The Anzac Day, which has 10,900. There is the Strathfield Festival, but that is matched to grant funding, so you're actually counted.
Okay, councillors, so the amendment as it stands, does anyone want to talk on the amendment? Oh, there's seconder. Are you seconding that, councillor Hall? Can you,
No, I said, I can't think
can you
of
second both? You can't. Want to second that, councillor Duck? Anyone want to second? Oh, you can? Go for it. Okay. All right, so the amendment is that we're voting on? Sorry? Yes, well, it's going to be Mr. Mammons. We've got I've got a question from the general manager, councillors, and if it's $10,000, we can't seem to see where that's going to come from because everything's been allocated. We drop it to 5,000.
Which of them?
But which one do you want to take it out of?
We take from.
Everything one motion.
Sure, sure.
So through Madam Mayor, I'm very cautious about this because in May, we did have a working group of councillors. And then in June, we held 2 councillor briefings where all councillors had input into the events calendar and the budget allocated to those events. And then in July, at the July meeting, councillors did resolve to adopt the current events schedule. So I'm cautious about any change made here because I would like it to be the correct change so that we don't proceed against council's direction.
It can come out of the Lunar Year Festival, if you want to do that. 5,000 out of the Lunar Year Festival. Is anyone want to happy with that? You happy with that, Sandra? Councillors ready? We'll make the Lunar Year 5,000, 4,000, and we'll make the Moon Festival 5,000. Councillor Mahestri, do you want to change your amendment to that?
You could just take it down to 2,500 from the motion as that.
Good idea, councillor Mahestri. So if we have 2,500 left over in the budget on any of the items, but we won't know what we have. We won't know if we're going to have anything left over until the end of the financial year. So how do we know if we're going to be able to spend that money in 3 weeks? That's my problem, councillor Mahestri. And that's my problem to all the councillors. I'm not voting for any of them, not voting for any of the motions. So I'm going to put the amendment to you. Councillors, is it down to 20? It's like an option. So
Can I have?
I'm just going to ask you to close. Thank you, councillor. Close on the amendment or we wait for the motion?
Once he closes, he can move as the line reply to his motion, that closes the debate, then you put the amendment.
Right. So you're closing on the motion now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. A bit out of whack today.
I think, the things at the beginning of this section, when the councillor Matthew Claymore suggested me to say, apologize for this one, but actually, I really have nothing to apologize for this point. We can see these things, we talk about the Moon Festival, like what the general manager said, started from May. Yeah, we started from May. At the time, we agreed this event is going to work together with the Spring Festival. And the budget for the Spring Festival, you know how much? It's 150,000.
Yeah.
Okay, not 15,000.
Sure.
It's 150,000. But at the end, in one workshop, we make some amendment that we feel that the Spring Festival is not that many people there at the last year's event, so we changed to the Homes Vibes, right? And how?
No, I have to correct you on that, Ms. Councillor Chine. So the reason why we stopped the Spring Festival is because Councillor Hall suggested that we shouldn't have the Spring Festival. The money from the Spring Festival of 150,000 should go toward the 250,000 that we're spending on the Multicultural Festival. And that's why we were having a smaller event in Homebush. And that's what caused the Homebush Vibes event to occur. Everyone had that in their papers. They all agreed on that, and they agreed that that would be the event that we're going to go forward with. So it wasn't that we were going to stop the Moon Festival. It was because we changed the Spring Festival to the Multicultural Festival because of the funding.
Okay, thank you. Thank
That's
you for
okay.
your amendment.
It's not my amendment, it's my comment.
Your comment. Okay,
Thank
thank you. From then on, we keep communication, the continued communication with the council, and at the end, I actually talked to the, the, what's it called, traffic committee. They are actually happy to organize in front. Okay, that, for the control of the traffic in the Henley Road, partially closed of the Henley Road. But to be frankly, the other communication is not fully, many barriers. Okay, so actually at the time, I also communicate with the community, and Dr. Tan say he is going to send it. But I'm not sure why he didn't send. The other things, for the fundings, we for this this year's event, we cancel one event, 150,000, and 2,500 for the multicultural committee, multiple festival, right? And how much for the Homes Vibes? It must be the savings sitting on there. And they make me so difficult, even 200,000.
Councillor Chai, you don't understand. This is not the place to debate the funding.
No, I not debate for the funding. The things I arguing about, there is a saving sitting on there.
There's no saving,
It
Councillor
is.
Chai.
Councillor
Councillor
Chai,
Chai,
excuse me,
Councillor
let
Chai,
me
the
finish.
Spring Festival cost $150,000.
Mm.
The whole of that Spring Festival funding has gone to the Multicultural Festival that's
Yeah,
going
that's
to
only-
cost 200, it's going to cost us 250,000, and the government's going to give us 250,000. It's a matching cost. Do you understand? We have no saving from the Spring Festival. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. It's going to cost this council $250,000 with the state government funding of $250,000. And that's why we said, why are we having the huge Spring Festival on top of it? If we didn't stop the Spring Festival, we would have had to have $300,000 allocated to the budget, which we don't have. That's the problem. I'm sorry to get loud, Councillor Chai, but it's just getting very late. We're getting very long in the discussion. I need to put the amendment up. Have you finished your closing
No,
statement?
not yet, we go back to the things, the topic I talk about. In Strathfield LGA, we got the 33% of the people who are celebrating the Moon Festival.
I
This is
understand
the
that.
big community in our council areas.
I understand
And the
that.
council don't even have money for the Moon Festival. This is, I don't know what I'm going to say in these words, but it's under camera. I'm not going to say anything, about this. So again, for me, I still hope council can organize this one. Okay,
Well, we'll vote for the amendment, Councillor Chai.
for the amendment, I think because of, I understand at this stage, okay, the time is short and limited. I would like, like Sri Lankan trying to delete the number 2 and number 3, but I think maybe we can bring number 2 and 3 back, work together.
Point of order,
Let me finish.
sorry, point of order.
Take a seat, Councillor Chai. Yes, Councillor Blackmore, is it a point of order?
Point of order is,
In the code of meeting
we're
practice?
finished, yes, we're finishing our debate.
Yes,
Councillor Chai is
bringing in
closing
new,
the meeting and he's trying to make amendments.
yeah, sure. So you're just in closing, Councillor Chai, you're not bringing new information.
Oh, I just responded to what people speak.
Yes, I know that, Councillor, but you're bringing in new information. We're now going to vote on the amendment. All right. So, is there more discussion or a question? You've talked on the amendment?
I'm not sure that wants to be closed.
Yes, you can close the amendment, Councillor Mahistran.
Just to address Councillor Kai's concerns, the only reason for the exclusion of points 2 and 3 is that we are at the beginning of September. It is scheduled for 30 September or the end of the month. Council officers say there's only so much we can do, and what we're saying is that in the year 2023, if there is anything we can do within the existing setup and framework of what people may be doing,
Mhm.
then if council can support, it may cost nothing, right? But it's an expression of support with a view that by 2024, we will budget for it.
Mm.
And, you know, it's not like I put this motion forward, I think, every last year for this exact festival. And that went down. So it's not unreasonable for council officers to say, well, it went down, this precise, you know, this precise thing, so we shouldn't be focusing on it. And now they have to turn the ship around and start heading in what I think is the right direction. I think we should be celebrating it. I think we should be funding it, and I think we should fund it significantly.
Mm.
But this year, we've got 3 weeks, so that's the only reason why I said 2 and 3. We can't go forward.
Thank you, councillor. I have to put this motion forward now. Councillors, we're going to be voting on the amendment. So if the amendment gets up, it will be the motion and then we'll vote on the motion. So the amendment is as put on the computer that commencing from year, or do you need me to? No, everyone's got it. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're voting on the amendment. All in favour? Okay, unanimous. I declare the amendment is passed. Now that becomes the motion, and I put it to you, councillors, all in favour, and you now declare that carried. Thank you very much. Right, so we go to the next one. 404, councillor Chai. Expression of interest to establish refreshment rooms, councillor Chai.
As a deputy mayor, nearly 4 months. I think this is the more motions was raised by me.
Okay,
Madam Mayor. Before I move my motion, I will again say that none of the 1,225 words used in the commentary to embarrass me on my motion hint that my motion is unlawful. Therefore, the only conclusion I could draw from this unacceptable overreaching by unelected staff and their interference of councillors' absolute right to put lawful motions before this chamber is nothing but an orchestrated attempt to embarrass me and interfere with our democratic process. I therefore object to have my voice in this place silenced and my charter traced by the shock and the old tactics of unelected staff. Again, I remind everyone in this chamber and out there watching online that my motion is absolutely lawful, and I would like to remind staff to respect me both as an elected councillor and as the deputy mayor of this council. Thank you. Madam Mayor, now I move my motion as submitted. It's simple, a motion to request express of interest to activate our facilities to create better experience for our users and the visitors. Thank you.
so you've read your motion?
Yes.
Thank you very much, councillor. I need a seconder on that, councillors. Councillor Hall? Okay, any debate on that, councillors?
Not today, Madam Mayor, but please use my ignorance. Today refreshment room, councillor Chai.
So through the Madam Mayor,
Sorry, go ahead, councillor Chai. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep everyone calm because there's a lot of notes going around and it's very difficult to keep the meeting in order. So can everyone just stay?
okay,
So, but the question was, councillor Chai, what is a refresh?
First room, like, to be the form official or.
Cafe.
Yeah, something like
Oh, okay. So a business.
a business or
Right.
whatever.
Councillor Blackmore, do you have any other further debate or do you have another question?
So again, councillor Chai, this one I can't support it in its current form. You're saying to immediately invite expressions of interest from the public to establish refreshment rooms. There's been no planning. We're doing our recreation plan for all of our parks and our community facilities. And to put a motion in this way that we immediately call for expressions of interest, rather than going through an appropriate process, I think really you should reconsider councillor Chai. I can't support him with current.
Councillor Chai, can I just suggest, if you call for a report, I will vote for this motion.
This one, I
Yes.
can accept it. Yeah.
I think, yeah. I think
Okay, so we
I-
will
I
change,
accept it.
we will change that council. Yeah, the alternate motion, which was council officers, council officers to us, for us to consider that a report be provided to council assessing whether there is need for a refreshment room to be provided through the local government area and options for suitable locations in order for council to consider if an open expression of interest / tender should be for interested parties to submit proposals which are financially net positive for council. So we're going to vote for this, councillor Chai, on page 406.
Yep.
406. This is the motion we're going to vote for,
This for the,
for a report.
not
that-
this one. Not this one, only for the,
406,
uh,
406. Oh, sorry, it's this. What page have you got?
for,
Alternate motion.
Yeah, but the alternate motion, councillor, is point 11 on page 406. You haven't got it?
No.
Okay, so it's on the screen. So it's
Why
this
you
one.
got 12 point? 12 point, I don't have,
So have you got this one?
yeah, I got to have 11, yes, is
Yeah,
it?
that's it's a different page. Okay, a report to be provided. So we're voting on that, councillors. Okay, I'll put it, any other discussion?
Yes,
Yes, councillor Hall?
can I please just add, to that alternative motion, you'd like the alternate motion?
Yes.
But if I could just add, where council, some of the specifics that councillor Chai would like, and that is, with, the following locations to be considered. The High Street Community Centre and Freshwater Park.
Councillor Chai, that change?
Yeah.
Right, so we're going to put that in, councillor, sorry, you're a councillor too, Mr McQuaid. Mr McQuaid, we'll put that to the motion. So we're going to be voting for this now alternate motion. All in favour, councillors? Councillor Hall, councillor Reddy, councillor Data, councillor Chai, councillor Pensabini, all against, councillor Mastron and councillor Black. Thank you very much. I declare that the motion's carried. All right. Now, we're putting this in, councillor Hall, councillor, are you on the bins? Yeah. So it's point 12.3, provision of additional bins in Henley Road and the Crescent. There are two different motions, but we'll take, can we do them as one? Oh, you have to deal with them as two. Okay. All right, so we'll put them for the additional bin, Henley Road. Councillor Chai, do you have a seconder? Councillor Reddy. Councillor Chai, can you speak on the motion?
Yes,
And we don't want that.
you don't want that
You're
one.
gonna
okay.
repeat it again?
But I still am not happy with so many commentary notes in here.
Well, I think we've got that now.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
So, Madam Mayor, anyway, this is, for the bins, I think it's easy. I'm not going to accept any report for these matters. Okay, this is kind of the residents, healthy issues, we're supposed to put this one as normal council work. And, Madam Mayor, yes, so I moved the motion, okay, as submitted formally. And, it's simply to provide two B-side bins in the Homes West Town Center to keep and manage litter.
I understand. Thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
that's on motion 12.3. Any debate, councillors? Councillor Hall,
May I please delete the word immediately?
Councillor Chai, are you happy if we remove the word immediately
In way,
in the first line after?
so, if not immediately, how long?
Excuse me, councillor, through the chair.
Sorry. Excuse me, through the chair,
Yes,
and I just want to know
councillor.
how long, if not immediately.
Thank you,
It
councillor.
just-
Councillor
it-
Hall,
It just, because there isn't a report and because it's a budgetary thing as well, it just gives the officer a little bit more time to have a
How
look
long?
at it.
You give me a time, I'm
Um,
framing, I'm
I
happy
would-
to.
I would suggest,
councillor Chai.
I would suggest, the change would be that council install a public litter bin on the western side of Henley Road at its intersection with the Crescent, with funds to be provided from the September to December 23 quarterly budget. September to December. September to
That'll be before the end of the year.
before the end of the year.
Can we have it before December?
It's a quarterly
Not
budget.
including
It's a
December.
quarterly budget.
Excuse
so
me,
it goes
excuse me. Mr Memo,
through the check.
through the chair. Mr Memo, is that acceptable to be put in as a motion without a report?
Through you, Madam Mayor, as part of doing the quarterly review, are we saying the September quarterly review or the December quarterly? review?
December quarterly.
So that the December quarterly review will come back to council in February next year. So we won't install it until after we've done the quarterly review. So that we know that the funding is available. In terms of timing, we'd need to look at procurement, and what, how long it would take for us to get a litter bin, made available for our sites.
So through the chair, so would that be something that is feasible and of consideration given that if the end of December, does that give you more time or?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I actually don't know what the cost of it is. So.
Or the timing.
I would need to
The
defer.
time.
The timing of
I have
delivery.
to defer to the.
Director. Councillor, I'll just call everyone councillor. You're not, director, sorry. Can you let us know the normal timing for the procurement and delivery of litter bins, please?
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor. We don't keep the bin enclosures in stock, so we wouldn't have any stored at the depot. So it would usually take several weeks, up to say 2 to 3 months to actually get those in stock.
Thank you very much. So it's 2 to 3 months, councillor Chise. So we're looking at the motion, councillors. Councillor Maheswaran, do you want to debate on that?
The motion being the recommendation, also the ultimate motion that would be more appropriate for council at now. Sorry.
So is this into with 12.3, councillor?
Yeah, yes, this is,
Okay.
sorry.
Is this an amendment?
Yes. Yeah, sorry, this is correct. This is an
The
amendment.
amendment to the page 410. I do apologise to our gallery tonight. Oh, so you're going on to the next motion, councillor?
No.
Oh, right, sorry, the alternate motion, a report be provided councillors possible installation of public litter bin on the western side of Henley Road. Yes, so you want to talk about that amendment, that alternate motion? Are you a seconder for that alternate motion?
Yes. Well, I'm moving it, so.
Okay. Matthew Blackmore, councillor Blackmore, seconded.
I think we all should get these sort of reports. It is in the code of conduct. But I just want to read something. No, but I just want to read something which is
some of the commentary that's been provided in response to Councillor Chai. Councillor Chai has insisted on the motion being tabled in this manner. His interpretation of the council's code of
Page
meetings.
you are reading.
I'm reading at page 412. That it is not mandatory to have.
There's another motion.
Oh, sorry, no, it's the same one.
No, it's not, because we're doing the present. You've gone on to
Yeah.
Henley Road.
No, it's the same thing on both, right?
Same thing.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
As council has insisted on the motion being tabled in this manner as his interpretation of council's code of meeting practice, that it's not mandatory to have to provide a motion with a request for a report and consideration of all relevant information for the decision being sought from the council. Councillor Kai's view is that clause 3.11 of the code of meeting practice must indicate to him that he must undertake this action. His view is that this is because clause 3.11 of the code of meeting practice indicates that he should, and he therefore does not need to ask for a report. It is noted that the definition of the word should, per the Oxford Dictionary, is as follows. Should is used to indicate obligation, duty, or threatness. In my mind, you would not read this with the Oxford English Dictionary. You would read it in accordance with its plain and ordinary meaning and in the context of what it provides. And where council says, or the code of meeting conduct does say that one must do things, it says that you should do things. And the circumstances, I think it is appropriate to ask for a report, but it's certainly not obligatory. And so I do agree with Councillor Kai on that point. And I would say that while this is something that we ordinarily not want to work through at a council meeting, at least on that one fine point, I do believe that councillors are entitled to bring things in this manner. It's just not something that we should get into the habit of doing for obvious reasons. And hence why I'm moving the alternate motion, which is that we get a report. If there is a question around the timing, then we can ask for a timing being placed on it. But otherwise, I'd be happy for council officers to come back to a workshop and provide us with some reports on installations. I'd say during this term of council, there's been a new toilet installed in the Humbush West stores. There's been multiple bins placed around the place, and it's been done in this manner. It's been done fairly effectively, so that's the only reason why I think a report's always appropriate. But with that being said, that's just my view. That's just my view.
Thank you, councillor. One moment. You have spoken, councillor Chai. Are there any other debates, councillors? No? So you're going to close.
But
This-
before I close, I just want
You
to.
can't, you have spoken, councillor. You don't have a second go. You can close,
Okay,
the motion.
okay.
And then we will vote on the alternate motion, on the amendment.
Okay, firstly, I don't accept, okay, can I ask a question to the Madam,
Sure.
Madam
Sure, you-
Chair, and to the
General
General
Manager?
Manager?
Yes.
For how much will be cost, to make a report for the bin? Yeah, how much?
How much is it
To install a bin on the street,
councillor? Yes, sorry. Thank
Through you,
you.
Madam Mayor, in the order of about $2,500 for being enclosure.
installation or to make a report?
Oh, to do a report.
An hour of staff time.
Yeah, no, I mean, in the dollar marks.
$200.
$100.
For the report. Well,
Any further debate, councillor? Okay, thank you very much. So we're going to be looking at the amendment that's up on the board, that council install a public litter bin on the western side of Henley Road and its intersection with the crescent, with funds to be provided from the December quarterly budget review.
The motion, Madam Mayor. I mean.
Sorry, I can't see the amendment. Sorry, councillor Data. That a report be provided to council on the possible installation of a public litter bin on the western side of Henley Road at its intersection with the crescent. This is the amendment. Putting it to you, councillors, all in favour? This is the amendment. Councillor Mahestrin, Councillor Blackmore, Councillor Chai, Councillor Pensabeni. Oh, sorry, it's
Yeah.
unanimous. Thank you. I declare the amendment carried.
It's a D&D motion.
Now that becomes the motion, councillors. I put it to you, all in favour? A unanimous vote. Thank you, councillors. I declare that motion carried. So the next one is the same. Okay, the provision of an additional bin on the crescent. Councillor Chai, you're moving that. Councillor, who's seconding it? Councillor Reddy? You just want to go to the alternate motion, councillor, and do exactly the same thing?
Okay, I don't really, accept, the motions, these matters is very much, only a little bit, like what the Director, Patty said, that's only 2,500. And that this very much, have to install, keep the town center clean. And this is only very so minor that our staff should have done without any promoting. Besides, the promotion of the VIDV is wholly within council delivery programs. It's an approved budget. Why we need a report? I really don't understand. But for the people who really want the report, I will accept it. Okay.
Thank you, councillor. So the alternate motion that would be put before council is that a report be provided to council to consider the installation of a public litter bin on the footpath at the northern alignment of the crescent opposite its intersection with Hornsey Road. Any other debate, councillors? Okay, I'm going to call it. All in favour? A unanimous vote. I declare that motion carried. Right. Now, 12.5, Councillor Mahestrin is moving it. A seconder? I'll second it. Councillor Pensabeni. Okay, councillor, you've got the call.
I'll need to amend the motion.
Right. Have you handed your amendments in, councillor?
No. But that's just to clear an error that's in the beginning of the motion, which
Right.
Indicates that for the motion were Councillor Duggan, Hall and Pensabeno, and against the motion were Councillors Blackmore, Dwayne, Kakakis and Bakari. Rather, that should read that against the motion were Councillors Duggan and Hall.
And
And-
Pensabeni.
I don't believe that at that 6 October 2020 meeting that you're present, Jane.
Okay.
And then against the motion, for the motion were Councillors Blackmore, Dwayne, Kakakis and Bakari.
So Pensabeni's out. I don't think I was there. Councillor Hall was there and Councillor Duggan was there. No voted against the motion. So that's a typo there. So you want to put the word against?
Correct, and where it says against, it ought to say for.
For the motion. Right, okay. So just to make that clear, against the motion were councillors Duggan and Hall, and for the motion were councillors Blackmore, Dwayne, Kokolas and Bakari. Thank you, councillor. Now, do you want to speak on the motion or?
I'll be happy to. I've provided extensive rationale. This concerns not a planning proposal, and it doesn't concern anything in our local environmental plan. Rather, it deals with a council report that never concerned a planning proposal, that recommended, and I quote, that council continue to support the residents' calls for the rezoning Water Street Industrial Precinct to R4, that is high density residential, in the review of the local environmental plan. Now, ordinarily, any change to the zonings in this area will be conducted either as part of the LEP review or will be initiated as a planning proposal. Inexplicably, this report was provided to councillors, and it essentially asserted that the residents of this area were crying out for several thousand apartments to be placed on the industrial land that sits near the Cooks River in South Stratford. If one thinks about this area, and everyone is familiar with that area, it is probably the furthest location from public transport, or at least from high density rail in the local government area. And if you were to pick an area that was inappropriate for several thousand new residents, it would be precisely that point on the map. Now, prior to the last council election, I held online forums due to COVID-19 that were well attended, and I door knocked most of the homes within a kilometre and a half of that area. I could not find any resident that supported high density residential redevelopment of the industrial zone. Now, I find it highly strange then that council officers, not a councillor, but council officers, would state that we should continue to support residents' calls for the rezoning of the Water Street Industrial Precinct. This in of itself is highly irregular and has never been subject to scrutiny. The scrutiny that has been applied is that the Department of Planning has rejected this as part of the local environmental plan. That is quite obviously a statement that it was an inappropriate move by council, and it flew in the face of employment lands preservation policies that have been moved by the state government. More than that, the council, to deal with the the employment lands policy by the state government, council proposed to move a depot, council's depot that currently sits on industrial zoning, into Crown Lands, to relocate it into one of our parks, Hudson Park West, at a cost that would have been something around $7 million. That's an estimate, for the purpose of creating employment lands within the LGA, such that they could offset a small fraction of the land that would be lost down in Water Street. Now, this is complex, but when we think about being facilitated towards one particular development, this is to the extreme, right? That council would say, we will move our own depot to create new industrial land such that it will offset the industrial land that would now become high density housing. I can say on a personal note that I have door knocked homes immediately bordering this land, and they have had people in tears at the prospect that it's not just that these kind of developments will occur in an area where it's not appropriate on the back fences of single-story residential homes, but rather that it's happening with the council support, and the council is claiming falsely, frankly, that residents are asking for this. So
In 2020.
yes, the council that you pay for as ratepayers are essentially advancing a proposal that would ultimately end in massive detriment to many, many residents. It's inexplicable, still not explained. These kind of developments or this kind of thing never ought to have happened. And it's time that council, now that there's been significant change in this leadership, both at an administrative level and at a political level, that we look back at that decision and try to get some explanation as to why this went through. That is the motion. It calls for a report. Council has proposed that the report be, part of this motion is that the documents associated with this development and the move of the council depot be annexed to the report, and therefore it all becomes public. So when people are talking about transparency, it means that the public will be able to see the full set of documents and come to a view as to why the council came to its view at that particular time. And as the mayor rightly notes, at that particular time, why they chose to justify this decision. Council officers have recommended that this not be done in the timeframe provided, which is 2 months, but rather that it go until March 2024. In respect of that, I simply note this, that if this was lodged as a freedom of information request by a member of the public, council would be obliged to respond within something like a month. And it would be seen as somewhat unreasonable if the council was to spend several months, or in this case, 6 months, to respond. We would think that if council needs to have the capacity to respond to a giver within that period of time, that they ought to be able to deal with this within 2 months. It has been the practice previously, for example, on the review of the employment contracts that if council's unable to respond.
Your time is up, councillor Hestrom. Do you need more time? Yes, councillor Hall, councillor Blackmore.
If council's
Thank you.
unable to respond within the allowed period, that they would let us know at the workshop and we would simply amend the time, and reasons can be provided as to the difficulty that council officers are facing at the moment.
Councillor Mahestrin, can we move it to December? So you want it in November? Okay, so, and councillor, you need to change that motion in brackets if that, we changed it up here. It's only if it's the alternate motion goes through. Any other amendments, councillor? Yes, councillor Blackmore.
Yeah, I'd actually, like to commend, councillor Murray for this motion. There's councillors here who were on that council, and, you know, I know there was residents down there who wanted the trucks and everything like that moved out of the area. And it was put forward to council, by staff, and where it was that this was the option to do that. So I just think there was some other stuff that happened as well. And I'd like to get a full comprehensive, report and expand this a little bit further. If that's okay.
Have you got your
Yes,
amendment
I'll
there,
send it in.
councillor? Yes. Is that there? Is that up there, Mr. McQuaid?
So, yeah, basically the amendment to add these points, include in the report a copy of any minutes or communications in relation to the meeting between Stratford councillors and New South Wales Planning Minister in 2019, and all other meetings with Stratford councillors, council staff, and the New South Wales Planning Minister in relation to rezoning of the Water Street Industrial Precinct. Include in the report a copy of all donations made to individuals or political parties by the owners of the land in the Water Street Industrial Precinct that is publicly available on the New South Wales Electoral Commission website. Include in the report all information provided to the then councillors before the unanimously endorsed Resolution 102/18 at the 1st May 2018 council meeting. Include in the report details of agenda item 12.1 from the 2nd February 2021 council meeting and all other resolutions that impact on the rezoning of the Water Street Industrial Precinct. And also a copy of all presentations made at previous council workshops in relation to the rezoning of the Water Street Industrial Precinct. So there was a recommendation put forward, which we were advised it was to support. There was also a decision motion lodged, which I believe, from my understanding, the mayor of the day put out of order, and I just don't recall reasons for that. So I'm happy, if Councillor Murray would accept those additions to the report.
No, of course I will. Happy to speak to it.
Could you speak to the amendment, please, councillor?
This is why. Yes. In short, and it's subtle, but it's pervasive. If we look at the minutes and communications in relation to meetings between Stratford councillors and New South Wales Planning Minister in 2019 and all other meetings, there was a minute that was produced of a meeting between the then Planning Minister and Councillor Duggan, as well as the mayor. And in that minute, it represented that Councillor Duggan was essentially advancing this high density proposal. In truth, and Councillor Duggan shortly after that point wrote to council and to the general manager, Henry Wong, and said this minute is not accurate. I believe that Councillor Duggan subsequently referred that to the Independent Commission Against Corruption. So essentially, what that is designed to do really is to produce a minute that appeared to be a falsified minute that's been subject to scrutiny, but then have that tabled as, well, someone I think wants to say Labor will.
I've actually put in their communications as well, Councillor Murray.
Between councillors and the New South Wales Planning Minister, it is designed in its nature.
I'm happy to take an amendment, councillor, if you wish.
Which one would you like to take out?
I see no reason for this addition in respect of the political donations. It's entirely redundant. It's outside of council's purview. Council can speak to one thing alone because it has in the documents, right, in respect of the planning justifications. It has the documents in respect of why this was put forward and how it advanced through council. This is a tight inquiry into why a council report was produced. And to put it further than that, goes outside of what council's officers would reasonably, what is a council officer meant to do in producing New South Wales electoral, publicly available New South Wales Electoral Commission documents? So this is about expanding into a scope where we can't possibly grapple with it. Council has one expertise in this, which is that it holds the documents which were used back then. None of the staff here were there at that time, but they have the documents which they can produce, and they can review the decisions and as to why this report was produced and the circumstances in which it was produced. Going outside that scope is a form of mission creep, and frankly, it doesn't make any sense. And I would also say that the production of that particular minute, where there's been significant scrutiny about that minute, in my mind, is something that's entirely unuseful. But with that being said, we've asked, as I say, in the motion, that council inquire generally, prudent way, into why this recommendation was put. And it may be the case that council turns around and says, we did an extensive public consultation, and it turns out that the residents down there really wanted 20-story building, 20-meter buildings on their back fences. It may be the case, but I find it highly unlikely. But that's one thing that council can speak to as the process that was done. And going outside of that goes outside where we ought to be discussing.
Thank you, councillor. Any further discussion? Councillor Hall, do you remember what happened at that time? Apparently I wasn't at the meeting, so I'm not sure what the situation was. I know that it was a very disturbing meeting, but I need to vote on the amendment. Are you moving that as amendment, councillor Blackmore, or are you moving it as part of the motion?
Councillor Sloan, everything.
Okay, so that's being removed. No. You can move it as a motion if we want to add it to the motion. Is there a seconder to the amendment? The amendment, councillor Blackmore is the amendment. Who's the other seconder? Councillor Reddy? Right. Okay. So we're going to vote on the amendment. And the amendment is
The motion plus the addition of councillor.
right. Okay, so we're voting on the motion plus the addition of the councillor Blackmore's.
That's right.
Right. Okay, so we're voting for the motion with the addition of councillor Blackmore's extra points. Is everyone clear? Everyone clear? The amendment. You're not clear, councillor Hall? Sorry. So councillor Blackmore has put in extra additions in an amendment to the motion. Right. Do you want to change chairs with councillor Maheswaran? Can you turn the computer? Can you turn the computer to play?
Yeah.
So that's the amendment, is it? A report to add to the report.
So this is.
Basically, like, I just want to achieve that. It looks at everything. If you want to take out the word minutes,
With
whatever you
the
like.
addition. Yeah. To the original motion. So it's motion with amendment. Goes on. Goes on. No, we don't need to vote on it. Okay. With the amendment, it's voted with the motion. Okay. Right. Okay, are we all clear, councillors? Right, so let me just explain again. We're going to vote the motion with the amendment from councillor Blackmore. Right, I put it to you, councillors, you understand this? I put it to you, councillors, all in favour of the motion, including the amendment.
So the amendment.
Sorry, just voting for the amendment. Which includes the substantive motion. Sorry, we're getting a bit confused up here, but I'm hoping you're all clear on this. Voting for all of it. Putting it to you, councillors, all in favour. Councillor Hall, not sure. Councillor
I
Hall.
can't remember what you
No,
know.
I just,
It's so hard,
sorry,
so hard to.
no, it's all right. Are you right? Did you vote for the amendment?
Not to remember what you said.
Councillor Hall, you can always ask for more information.
Oh, good, I have asked, please have more information. Sure.
Councillor Hall needs more information. Mr. Lawrence, would you like to give more information, please?
I mean, I apologise, I know you weren't there either, but.
So who would you like more information from, Councillor Hall? Okay, so Councillor Blackmore has pointed out he wants more information in the report, and he's pointed out all the things that he needs that he wants extra, right? To what happened, right?
I'm sorry, but that's not a fair characterisation of what the amendment is. What it is information that's designed to provide a particular character to the type of report that we produce. And it's one of those things where planning is so complicated that these things become difficult. But when you talk about something like, included in the report, all information provided to then council before the unanimously resort resolution 102/18. Like, it's no mystery that there are some that walk around saying that the council has previously approved this unanimously and therefore they ought to have done. Now, that report ought to be captured by the terms of reference originally. So what it chooses to do is particularly shine a light down on something that's been purported to be a unanimous consent behind this decision, when in truth, what that is the local planning panel saying that there needs to be further strategic studies, and we're going to refer this back and have a strategic study, right? But what it says is, oh, but look at the way it's said, before they unanimously resort resolution 102/18, which was to send it back in accordance with the strategic. So no, but I'm saying that is why we have a generally worded, broad-based inquiry based on documents that are available. These documents are designed to create and characterize a series of decisions where there's more than just a set of councillors that were involved in this decision.
I understand, Councillor Mahestrom, because I was there. We were arguing this point so many times in regard to the Water Street property. We had workshop after workshop. I think with your characterisation, with your motion, Councillor Mahestrom, does it include information from the workshops that presented?
Usually all information as far as we possibly can within the confines of the GIBA Act. Right, because there's information that the council cannot.
So really, it should cover everything then.
Of course it will.
Councillor Blackmore, can I ask you to remove your amendment? If we need more information after the report comes back, we can ask for it. Okay. All right. So if we're going to remove the amendment from Councillor Blackmore, he's decided to remove it.
Second is consent.
Yeah. Second is consent. Are you happy to do that, Councillor? Thank you. So now we're just going to vote on the motions, Councillor, on the motion that was put forward. And that's for the motion of Councillor Maheswaran. And it's with that, and it's with the so we all happy.
I don't know what was.
We previously had motions where we've come back and workshop setting without difficulties, which we happy if we came
Okay,
back
so
to
we'll
that.
leave it at November. If you need more time, you can put that to council. Thank you, Mr. Mano. Okay, so I'm putting the motion forward. All in favour? A unanimous vote. I can move it. The motion has been carried. Thank you very much. Discretionary grants. That one's gone in. 419 is the Cooks River letter. Councillor Hall, you asked to talk on this.
Oh, yes. Yeah, as you know, I do have a bit of a mandate about, not including major parties. My usual spiel. I only have 12 months left to do my usual spiel. Yeah, I'd actually, like to put an amendment. And that is, that, council right to the surrounding federal members or the Cooks River, surrounding,
LGAs.
federal members of parliament. Welcoming the $10 million commitment to revitalise the Cooks River with tree planting, riverbank stabilisation, installation of river traps and restoration of waterways. And request funding for similar improvements to the Cooks River waterway through the Strathfield Golf Course through Strathfield South. I'm glad you haven't noticed a difference, so you accept it. Excellent.
Who were we writing to? Did anyone get that?
Councillor.
Who were the members?
Haven't changed it that much.
Oh my gosh. I think that's part of the recommendation, isn't it, councillor?
Yeah, I haven't changed it that much.
Who did you add?
Nobody.
Just moving the motion. Think about that.
Okay, do you accept the amendment, councillor Mahestra?
Can I just see the amendment before we assess it? What review?
Did anyone second councillor Hall's motion, amendment?
No, it's.
Oh, to change it, okay. Did you accept it, councillor Mahestra?
I'd just like to see what it
Hurry up
is.
and read. Getting a bit tired.
Oh, the federal Labor government. Well,
The name.
no, I can't, it's fine because it doesn't change the nature of the government, so I said that.
So you took out Labor.
Yes, you said, oh,
Councillor Hall, did you take out the word Labor?
no,
Wasn't in there.
I took out the word federal Labor government by the Prime Minister Albanese. Irrelevant.
It is irrelevant. All right, so you accept that, councillor Mahestra?
And yet he'll still be the Prime Minister after we
Right.
make the amendment.
Yes,
So
Exactly
yes,
right.
yes, you will.
Okay, I'll put it to you, councillors, all in favour? I declare that carried. Thank you very much. Now we have questions with notice, none. We have matters of urgency, any matters of urgency? None.
And now I do have one other urgency.
Oh, yes, councillor.
I hope it won't be controversial.
Well, can I see it first before you talk about?
Read it out, please.
Pinned it down.
Right. Does
Right.
Mr. McQuaid have it?
I don't, because it was on my way here.
Right.
It was, the motion is simply that, Strathfield Council resolve, to request that, council write to Mr. Tony Raphael and thank him for his service on the Strathfield Town Centre Working Group and acknowledge his contributions to it.
That letter has been sent, councillor. So there's no need for an urgent motion. I don't declare that urgent.
I will.
Thank you very much. All right. Now the confidential matters went through with the, those papers, and now we get up to the. Sorry. Yes, so the chair, so. Okay, so as you're all aware, this is now coming up to the session where CCS 10, CCS 11, 12, 13, in the election of the mayor, the method of voting, election of deputy mayor, the method of voting, and the election of mayor and election of deputy mayor. As you would be aware, my term as the current mayor expires in September 23, and the local government councillor.
We just need to go into the toilet. Can we have a 2-second busting? It's been a long night.
Yeah, this will be over very quickly, councillor.
No, it won't.
That-
Can we just, we have a 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
Councillor, we will
Can
close,
I put move the motion? 2 minutes. 2 minutes. We have.
put it to the council. Everyone in favour?
Not serious?
I'm sorry, sorry, we're going to go forward.
Okay.
Thank you very much. As you'd be aware, my term as the current mayor expires in September 23. And the Local Government Act requires council to elect a mayor at a meeting of council in September 23. This timeline also applies to the expiry of the current deputy mayor, Councillor Ben Chai. The purpose of this meeting is to undertake the relevant election and processes. Council will now determine who will undertake the role of mayor for the remainder of the current term of council until September 24. We therefore are required to complete a mayoral election this evening, and the Local Government Act stipulates that our general manager must, in such proceedings, take the role of chair for the rest of the meeting. I therefore now hand over the conduct of the election of both mayor and, following this, the deputy mayor to council's general manager. The general manager will invite the mayor and the deputy mayor to take their seats and address council prior to the close of the meeting. Thank you, Mr. Mamo. Yeah, and councillors, your phones need to be turned off. Thank you very much. Turned off.
I found it, but microphone, you want any of it?
Someone's phone's on. After I just. Oh, hang on, over here, Councillor Chai.
Under the Local Government Act, I am appointed as the returning officer and am responsible for conducting the process for the election of the mayor. So the next item on the business is to determine by council resolution the method of voting. So should there be more than one nominee for the position of mayor? So should there be only one nominee for a position, then there will be no need for a vote and the nominee will be declared elected. So I refer you to CCS 10, the business paper, so which is on page 326. The method of voting for the position of mayor is to be by one of the following methods: by open voting, i.e. by show of hands; ordinary voting, which is a secret ballot where the vote is by placing an X against the chosen candidate; preferential ballot, which is a secret ballot where the vote is by placing the numbers 1, 2, and 3, and so on against each of the candidates. May I have a motion, please, as to the method of voting for the mayor or report CCS 10?
I move that the motion be carried at open hands.
I have a mover, Councillor Sabini. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Blackmore as a seconder. Okay. There's no discussion. I'll put that motion and I have a show of hands for motion. I declare it carried, unanimous. I'll now deal with the election or the method of voting for the election of the deputy mayor, which is CCS 11 on the agenda. The method of voting is the same as that of the mayor. May I please have a vote on the method of voting for the deputy mayor?
I move that the motion be put of the show of hands.
No, I have a seconder. Councillor Dart. Seconder. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried, unanimous. Okay, now the fun bit. It's been resolved that the method of voting for the position of mayor will be by open voting, show of hands. I'm now going to deal with report CCS 12, the election of the mayor. Now, I note that I have received two nominations. Two nominations for the position of mayor. One nomination for Councillor Hall, signed by Councillor Chai and Councillor Reddy, accepted by Councillor Hall. Councillor Hall, can I confirm that you accept that nomination? The second nomination I've received is for Councillor Pensabini, signed by Councillor Pensabini and Councillor Blackmore. The nomination has been signed and accepted by Councillor Pensabini. Can I confirm that you accept that nomination? So I have two nominations. Are there any further nominations for the position of mayor?
Are you calling?
Calling for any further nominations?
I truly believe that it's always good to have different people have the mayoralty. So I'm prepared to nominate Councillor Data, Councillor Maheswaran also if they want to, if they want to accept.
I'll need form signed by two councillors and accepted by those councillors. Firstly, I might ask, is there a seconder for those nominations? Is there a seconder for those nominations? Are you seconding both of those nominations? Are you seconding both nominations for Councillor
I still have to accept.
Data and Councillor Maswaran?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
They want to sign.
Before we sign the forms, I'll put it to Councillor Maswaran whether you accept that nomination.
Whoa, whoa. Oh. Unexpected.
Instead of voting else, Councillor Data.
Whoa.
Very clear.
Councillor Data,
Unexpected.
No, we have discussed it now.
the Councillor Data has declined to accept that nomination.
Thank you.
Councillor Maswaran. Councillor Maswaran has declined to accept that offer. So I confirm we have two nominations for the position of mayor. Councillor Hall and Councillor Pensabini. Okay. What I will do now is I will determine the voting order for councillors. To do that, I'm going to place Councillor Hall's name, Councillor Pensabini's name, in the ballot box. So, got Councillor Hall's name. Do that. Do you trust me? You want to see it?
No.
I will fold it once and twice. Councillor Pensabini. Once. I'll fold it twice. I don't know how we're getting it.
How do you get it out?
There's a pen underneath.
This is very professional. Very.
So I'll ask Mr. Lawrence to give that a bit of a shake for me. Now, the first name that I pull out of the hat, the box, I will write down on the tally sheet, and that will be the first councillor that you will vote for. And then the second councillor will be the second candidate that will be voted. So the first councillor out of the box is councillor Pensabini.
First time I've ever come out of a box. First time, eh?
You got picked up before.
I
It was
haven't.
that, was the losing way, I forget.
Oh, that's right. It was to get out. It was to be shot down.
By default, that will be councillor Hall as the second. Okay. For completeness. Councillor Hall's. Okay, now, with a show of hands. Can I ask councillors who are voting for councillor Pensabini to be mayor for the remainder of this council term to raise their right hand? I have councillor Pensabini, councillor Maswaran, councillor Dada, and councillor Blackmore. As I have 4 votes, I'll call for councillor Hall. If you're voting for councillor Hall, please raise your right hand. Councillor Reedy, councillor Hall, and councillor Child. Declare councillor Pensabini Mayor for September 2024. Congratulations, councillor Pensabini.
Thank you very much.
Councillor organised. Okay, so now I will move on to item CCS 13, the election of the deputy mayor. It's been resolved as part of CCS 11 that the method of voting for the position of deputy mayor will be by open voting, show of hands. I have 2 nominations for the position of deputy mayor. I have 1 nomination for councillor Chai, which has been signed by councillor Reedy and councillor Hall, and has been signed by councillor Chai, accepting the nomination. Councillor Chai, do you accept that nomination for deputy mayor?
Maybe that was withdrawn that. Yeah, I can withdraw that.
You withdraw?
Yeah.
Withdraw.
Withdrawn.
We're together, we're together.
Okay. Councillor Chai has withdrawn his nomination for deputy mayor. The second nomination I have is for councillor Reedy. This nomination has been signed by councillor Hall and councillor Chai. It has also been signed by councillor Reedy, accepting the nomination. Councillor Reedy, do you accept that nomination for deputy mayor? Yes. We need to hear it.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you, councillor Reedy. As I have only 1 nomination for the role of deputy mayor, for the record, councillor Reedy, I declare you the deputy mayor for the period till September 2024. I'll now invite Mayor Pensabini, Deputy Mayor Reedy to take the thesis.
Thank you, everyone. Can I just say thank you to the people who have supported me tonight. I want to thank our council officers for all the work that you do and the things that you do for me. And as mayor, it's a pretty tough job running this council, but I know that I have the backing of wonderful councillors, councillor officers, and especially from our general manager, Michael Mano. Thank you for your support. I congratulate our new Deputy Mayor, Sandy Reddy, Women Power. Woohoo! We have 2 women now in the head of the council, and I'm very, very proud of that. And I know and I hope that we can work together and make this put forward to 2024, all the things that Matthew and I have started in the last 2 years. And so we can go ahead and make big changes to Strathfield for the betterment of our community. Thank you very much. Councillor Reddy?
Councillor Chai was also there.
Councillor Chai, thank you for your term as Deputy Mayor. You've done a great job. Thank you. Yes.
I would like to thank my councillor colleagues for supporting me unanimously. And I'd like to thank Ben and Nella for nominating me. Thank you very much, and I hope to have peace in this council for the next 1 year.
Very good.
Thank you.
Ben, would you like to say something?
I'm okay.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
Maybe I can have one word. Congratulations to you all.
oh, thank you. Thank you, Councillor Chai. So the time being 9:01, I declare the meeting closed. Thank you all very much.
Let's go, I think that, right?